Have you ever been walking down the street, minding your own business, and then you hear this?
They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
You probably weren't walking down the street, but you've heard that nonetheless. Yeah, let's talk about White Grievance. Now, White Grievance is not a white person going, "Oh, it's hot in here. My rent is too high. My neighbors are making too much noise. They're taking too long to get my order ready." It is not when white people complain about mundane things. So I don't need to see nobody getting on TikTok and telling me about a Karen they saw hollering for the manager and that's somehow white grievance. I also don't want to see right-wingers getting on here and complaining and saying that them complaining is white grievance. That, oh man, white people can't complain no more. I don't need to see y'all crying about that, lying. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's calling white grievance when white people complain. Do not make shit up. That's not what it is. Okay?
Okay.
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 Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
White grievance is a particular form of bitching that weaponizes white victimhood. It is racial in nature. It's always, either fabricated or exaggerated. It makes victim out of white people in their own minds. Normally goes something like this. Oh, white people are being persecuted, or oh, they're killing white people, or they're hurting white people. Now, if you're still confused about what it looks like,
and that's why, in some places, taxpayers are paying for foreign nationals who should be deported to live in hotel rooms. Unlike you, they're not paying for your hotel rooms.
When did racism against white people become okay?
This is the ad the group ran before the midterms.
Now rationing life-saving therapeutics based on race, discriminating against and denigrating, just denigrating white people to determine who lives and who dies. If you're white, you don't get the vaccine, or if you're white, you don't get therapeutics.
An unrelenting stream of immigration. But why? Well, Joe Biden just said it. To change the racial mix of the country. That's the reason, to reduce the political power of people whose ancestors lived here and dramatically increase the proportion of Americans newly arrived from the third world. This policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries.
Encouraged to judge their classmates not by their character, but by their ancestors' racial and genetic makeup. A new breed of vile racists now stalks the corridors of our schools, universities, bureaucracies, and corporations, vilifying, denigrating, and treating as subhuman individuals because of the color of their skin, white.
The Biden power grab will put radical and racist left-wing bureaucrats in charge of micromanaging the housing where you live. And nobody can be happy about that. I talked about it during my last campaign, and people understood it very well. They will use the power of the federal government to abolish zoning for single-family homes, destroy your property values by building giant multi-family apartment complexes in the suburbs, and even next to your house, and force your community to pay for low-income housing developments right next door. The woke left is waging full-scale war on the suburbs, and their Marxist crusade is coming for your neighborhood, your tax dollars, your public safety, and your home. When I get back...
Oppose any of it, and you're a racist. So in the end, it always happens. And in this case, it may happen. It probably will. But what happens then to us? How will this new wave of immigration affect America? Will America be a better country? Or will it be a little more like Afghanistan, which is to say, not really a better country?
Openly campaign for racial reparations and bigoted policies that target white people.
Now, White Grievance, while it may not have like a mastermind final goal, it does have certain purposes that it wants to fulfill. One of them is to instill within white people a sense of justification to commit violence against black people, against people of color. On some level, deep down inside, they feel guilty as hell. So you can't operate in violence out of a feeling of guilt. So you have to convince yourself, and if you want to attack the group that you hate and you know that you've done wrong against them, you can't do that while you feel guilty. So you have to convince yourself that you're actually the one that's being oppressed, that you're actually the one that's being tortured, that you're actually the one that's being attacked. And they repeatedly do this. This is what the KKK did. This is what white supremacists have historically done. This is a strategy of theirs. They want to feel powerful, so they suppress all of that. That's the same reason why they lie about history, why they try to diminish history, why they try to whitewash everything, why they try to make it seem like slavery wasn't that bad, why they always ignore everything that came after slavery. They know that the only way that they can feel justified is by putting that idea out there and convincing themselves that they are victims. Usually these people, their fans, are very quick to believe with no evidence, to believe any bullshit story that they make up. They want to believe that they are victims so that they can feel justified whenever they commit some atrocity. White Grievance is not new. It goes all the way post-Reconstruction era, where white Southerners who owned newspapers ran relentless campaigns of fear-mongering about black people. One particular campaign in Wilmington, North Carolina in 1898 actually caused an insurrection which killed many black citizens in that city and forced black members of Congress to flee for their lives. This was all caused by a campaign, by a fear-mongering campaign in newspapers, where they keep fear-mongering, talking about the quote-unquote Negro rule. They were fear-monger about black people taking away white women. Make no doubt about it, the people with the bullhorns in the big platforms, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They want to inspire violence. They know that most people are not going to go out and do nothing, but they're counting on those 1% people to be so scared and so, I guess, aggrieved that they're going to pick up a gun and go shoot, just like what happened at in Buffalo, New York, at that supermarket, courtesy of Tucker Carlson. Which I'm pretty sure he was happy about that. And they want to normalize this. They want to make themselves be able to say this without consequences. And the way they want to achieve this is by saying these kinds of things over and over, right? So one of them, let's say a politician will make up some white grievance and say it one week. Then a few days later, some influencer, some right-wing influencer will make up another thing. Then next week, another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and they keep this going and going and going and going and going until this is the norm. The more any one of these points gets repeated and gets amplified by them, the better for them. Because you know that saying that you repeat something often enough that people start to believe it, and this is exactly what happens. See, with that Tucker Carlson shit, with talking about that white people are being replaced. He kept saying that, other people will repeat it, Now you got thousands of these scared, tiny, really fragile white people thinking that that's actually happening, and they're sitting in their little corners all scared. They want to take this as far as they can. They want to normalize this, and we can't let that happen. This is what I don't want to see. I don't think I should have to explain why this feels like such an insult. To something this serious, lies and propaganda that's inspiring violence, and you want to respond with a gif. Hold on. No! That shit is not funny. That shit is not cute. And then it's like, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So first, whoever publicizes one of these claims, somebody just as prominent has to step up and fully debunk it, and make that reply go more viral than the initial claim itself. Them shits have to be fully debunked. All right. The same way people get canceled, that has to happen for these people too. Every time anybody starts talking that white grievance shit, we must come out and just go hard. People have to ratio them on Twitter or whatever. Just everybody go at them, call them up, call other people get journalists to question them. Everywhere they go, they gotta hear about this. Hey, why were you employing white grievance? Over just everybody just dogpile on them until they apologize. A pressure campaign like this, in the most serious cases, should end with somebody getting fired from their job. And I know somebody will be like, well, that's extreme. Well, that's extreme, man. You want somebody to get fired? They got kids to feed. Well, they weren't thinking about that when they started lying and trying to inspire violence, right? They wasn't thinking about that then, right? We also have to get people to understand why this happens. Specifically, how progress in our society fuels those kind of sentiments, being brainwashed by this kind of propaganda. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people would probably be even upset that I'm saying this, but it could be helpful to reassure those people, hey, listen, man, your jobs aren't being taken. You are not being replaced. And actually show these things, not just say them, because hello, you can't convince people without evidence. And I feel like so often you don't get that. You just get laughing. You just get people laughing this off, and not debunking any of these points. The people, the people with the big platforms, millions of subscribers and shit like that, or people on, or like mainstream media, they don't do like a good job being detailed about these kinds of things and putting it into the public conscious. And that's one thing that we all collectively can work on, making documentaries. If you're a if you make documentaries, make documentaries about stuff like this. Try your best to put it out there and get as many eyes on it as possible. And also, I feel like it's worth a try to reassure them over and over and over. The same way they get brainwashed by hearing the same phrases and lies over and over and over and over. I feel like it's plausible to get them to accept the fact that all this shit is bullshit, by just reassuring them over and over and over and over and over and over until they become convinced that this is all bullshit. Now, obviously, I can already anticipate like these pessimistic people and these doomers going, "Oh, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work." As if I said one thing. I literally just said 5 possible fucking things to help fight against this. I feel like all these things together, not just one thing, all these things together working collectively, there would be effective against this kind of rhetoric.